Hey guys, how's it going? So in this video we're going to be talking about Aurora's earnings, or my predictions of Aurora's earnings, upcoming earnings in February. I don't think it's going to be that great of an earnings report, but I could totally be wrong. We'll see what happens. I think it's going to be decent. I think it's going to be over $100 million, but I don't know if it's enough to convince the market to basically pump Aurora stock and shorts the cover. But I do think that the springtime earnings is going to be a good one. So yeah, but we'll see though. Anyways, so before I talk about anything, I just wanted to let you guys know that I I basically asked somebody who never ever did any kind of MJ products to try some edibles, and I gave him half a Chowie bar, which is from Tilray, and is about 5 milligrams per bar. So I gave him one, he ate it, and I asked him how he felt, 5 hours later, and he told me he didn't feel anything. So maybe he doesn't know what being high is, or maybe his body completely rejected because it doesn't recognize what MJ is. I don't know, or maybe he just doesn't know what, how it feels, so he doesn't even know if he's, you know, I don't want to demonetize high. I guess high doesn't. Would that? I sure hope this doesn't demonetize me. But anyways, let's move forward. Anyway, so when Aurora launched, basically every single part of Canada was selling out really good. Like Ontario, sells out of edibles within hours. The stores and the online stores are selling out of edibles very well right now. But the vape products on the Ontario store is kind of still on the shelf. But I still which is kind of disappointing because Aurora's vape products are what is the biggest money maker. I think the vape products are going to generate them the most money, more than the edible products. But I could be wrong. Maybe edibles will generate way more money than vapes. But the combined vapes and edibles, I think Aurora is going to generate at least, $30 to $40 million from the edible market in between now and no, in January to March, this quarter. I think the MJ 2.0 will generate them between $30 to $40 million, and then plus dry bud, and so I think that Aurora's earnings report is going to be pretty decent for the next earnings, but ultimately we will see. I think if all of Aurora edible products stay consistently sold out throughout the entire time they basically from now all the way to end of March, if Aurora products consistently stay out, I think the earnings report will be excellent. But and they will be profitable, but we'll see if that's going to be the scenario. And then when this is important because when Aurora Whistler Medical launched rosin extract in the BC market for $150, and it sold out within a couple of days, and they did launch it in the December time frame. So this will be added into Aurora's revenue. So hopefully this new rosin product will be a significant amount of revenue towards Aurora's earnings. But we'll see what happens ultimately at the end of the day. But I'm still looking forward to it. I think this earnings is going to be pretty decent, but I still don't think it's going to be profitable. But we'll see though. Aurora. So this is the Aurora online store. Why I'm bringing this up is because on December 17th, 2019, Aurora launched the edible products in the online store first before they launched it anywhere else. After that, it went to BC, and then it went to the other provinces, which all sold out really fast. But the thing is, the medical patients because of the huge demand for edible products, Aurora has stopped supplying the medical patients any edibles at the moment, at least according to my source. He's telling me that after December 23rd, they basically stopped selling edible products in the medical store. So my assumption is they're selling so much edible products right now, and they want to make sure they have supply for the rest of Canada before they can bring it back to the medical patients. Once the supply starts, once the supply catches up to the demand. But right now the demand is way higher than the supply, so Aurora is kind of shuttering out the medical patients. But that's a good sign, because the medical patients probably like, you know, killed off a huge amount of supply. Like I from what I heard, that the first day the edible products launched in the on the online store, basically the gummies sold out within hours, and then it came back, and then it sold out again. So Aurora decided to just completely stop supplying the medical patients. So no supply for the medical patients at the moment, which kind of sucks, but you know, that's how things are right now, because Aurora cannot keep up with the demand, and they need to try to make sure that they keep the they will need to make sure that they can supply the rest of Canada and not focus on the medical patient. Yes, it's gonna hurt the gross margins, but I think that's part of brand building, because I think that if Aurora wanted to, they could probably sell most of the inventory from their medical patients. But you know, I think that they're focusing on branding, and that's why they want to make sure that they have enough supply for all of Canada and not just funnel all of it into the medical market. So you know, that's what I think. I don't know. And then in the December quarter, near the end of November, Aurora launched the Aurora store in West Edmonton Mall, and I think this is gonna help generate revenue in a big way, because this is very high margin business. Yes, there is expensive rent, but I think, you know, the amount of foot traffic and the amount of customers they're getting, it's worth the expensive rent. And I think that the Aurora store at West Edmonton Mall generated a lot of revenue for Aurora in December. So, because it's the Christmas holidays, and there was a time when I went to the store and everything was sold out. So that is a very good sign that Aurora is doing very well at the Aurora store, and I can't wait for the earnings report to hear what kind of numbers came out from the Aurora store. But I don't know if Aurora is going to disclose that. They might not. And then what I also noticed was Pink Kush from San Rafael, with, at least in Alberta, I don't know about BC and Ontario and Quebec, but in Alberta, it was sold out. It was sold out for a couple weeks. It's finally back in inventory, but for at least 2 weeks, Alberta had no Pink Kush anywhere, and supply is still kind of limited right now. But it's sold very well, and I think that's gonna really help with revenue generation. And then San Rafael, Delahaye in Edmonton, or in Alberta in general, also sold out in the month of December. On top of that, in Alberta, Aurora increased the price of Pink Kush from, I believe, $32.99 to around $37.99 for both all the San Rafael products. And then the Aurora Pre-Rolls Sativa Pre-Rolls also sold very well. I couldn't find it in any stores, and in the West Edmonton Mall location, this is usually like the first to sell out, and I just noticed that the Sativa Pre-Rolls was selling very well in the Christmas holiday. And they also increased the price of it, because it used to sell for $27.99, and then Aurora increased it to $29.99, so they increased it a couple bucks, you know, which will help with revenues and profit margins. So that's a good sign. But at least I think that's what they're doing in Alberta. I don't know if they're doing that all over Canada, but in Alberta they definitely increased the cost of the pre-rolls, but they still sold anyway, so it didn't really matter. And then Afria had earnings not too long ago. I know that Afria stock crashed after the earnings, but I think that the stock price will recover eventually. But the whole point of it is Afria did pretty good. Their revenues has gone up gone up. The amount they sold gone up. So I think that because Afria did well, I think that's going to reflect positively for Aurora. And then Organigram also did very well too when it came to selling in the recreational market. So this is really positive for Aurora because both Organigram and Afria did well in the earnings. I think that Aurora is going to do pretty decently for the earnings. But now let's move on to the actual earnings. So this was for the first quarter. So the next one is going to be somewhere in February. Aurora has not announced an official date yet, so we don't know when Aurora is going to have the earnings. People are saying February 10th, but I don't believe it's going to be February 10th. I believe it's going to be, February 14th, 15th, but nobody truly knows until Aurora announces an earnings date. But I almost guarantee you it will be in February. Maybe late February, or maybe what's after February? March, maybe early March. So definitely, I think it's going to definitely be in February, but there's a possibility it could be early March. But eventually Aurora is going to have to announce the earnings. When last time they announced earnings, it was the medical was didn't really increase that much. But the one thing that was very disappointing was the consumer net revenue, which decreased by $14 million, almost $50 million, 33%. But I think that because of the Westminster Mall location, and the fact that it was the holidays and people are more spendy in the holidays, I think that the net revenue, the net MJ revenue will increase back to close to $44 million, and the medical patients will be relatively the same. And then the bulk might disappear, but I think it's gonna be replaced by the edible market. So I think Aurora is gonna generate let's say $44 million with $30 million. So that would be 75. If they have this wholesale with another 10, that would be 95, and then you tack on the medical. I think Aurora could generate over $100 million of revenue in the coming quarter, and then their gross profit will probably increase simply because they introduced the edible market in the winter time in the 2 weeks of December. So I think that gross margin is going to increase to around 65%, but I could be wrong. This is just me speculating. Aurora is still probably going to be report a loss, but Aurora stock has gone down so much. I think the most important thing Aurora can prove in this earnings report is, are they still burning a ton of cash? If Aurora is not burning a ton of cash, their stock might go up, but we'll see what happens at the end of the day. But anyways, thanks for watching, guys. I hope you enjoyed this content. Give me a thumbs up, it helps my channel grow. Subscribe for future updates, and have a great day. Bye.